Hi, I'm Pietro Bolsinelli, and in this video I wanted to integrate some information on the theme about which with Daniele Giardini we recently wrote a post on Gamasutra called Videogame Dialogues, Writing Tools and Design Ideas. What we could not show in the post is the dynamic of what we're talking about. In fact, in the post we cover mainly two themes. One is how to facilitate writing for games by using the appropriate tools, and also, by the way, in this way showing how specific in particular is games writing with respect to writing for other media. And then we also want to show something about how to design an in-game dialogue user interface. So in this video, I will show you how this can be done in a development environment. So let's remove this. Okay, and go to Unity. Let's see. Okay. So now here I'm in Unity, and I can do both things. I can both write here dialogues with using variables, global and local, and so interaction between the state of the game and the dialogues, and I can show a user interface. This is Outspoken, which is a Unity plugin not currently available because it's an early alpha. It's developed by Daniele Giardini, and as he says, once it will be stable, it may become available commercially. But so for the moment, it's useful for illustrating how this can work, and you can of course have your own classes and your own tools for handling the back office writing of the story, but this is how it should work in principle. So let's check a bit how this is built. This is an oriented graph of nodes which can contain text, and I'm able to write here, of course. And they also contain, you can use variables. These are global variables which you can set up here in this editor part, and they can be set before the dialogue is performed, and also can be read afterwards, of course. You also have a list of actors which you can use in the dialogues. You can set their image, typical colors into different situations, and you have categories of actors and so on. And so notice, for example, how in this node here I have the name of the football team and the characterization of standout colors set outside of the dialogue, so I don't have to repeat them every time. And notice in this Charles node how I have two local variables of the dialogue, which are the two answers. So having local variables is very useful because I can use it afterwards without having to repeat the logic and so on. So let's see it. Let's save it and see it in action. So if I launch the game, one of the scenes of this game, which is a managerial game on football gone wrong because of the story behind it. And so here I have my dialogue. So the coach starts to talk. You see this color is the name and the color have been configured externally, and notice how the coach Rocco is a little bounces when he talks a bit. Okay, and the cat makes these two different sounds, and the coach asks him a question, British or French. So these are the two choices with the variables, and if I pick the French one, I will see it afterwards, which gives, of course, a bit of liveliness to the dialogue. And the same goes for if I make when I have to make more substantial choices concerning the game. This will set all sorts of variables which we may have seen before. Let me see if I open it now, well, I will add the image. You can see all the variables. In this case, karma. A complex set of variables set by making that choice in the dialogue. Another little thing I want to show you is how a dialogue structure can also be used in order to write any kind of content in your game, not just dialogues, but as in this case, I'm writing here the generated log of the game with the two commenters, and it's all in function of the different situations we generate during the football gameplay. And or here I've written the content of the oracle which is in the game, which comes out with from the I Ching book, and all the possible results are written here in the form of a dialogue, which is very useful to write them here instead of a class, because of the comfort of the user interface and how you can see them here, and also keeping the two things separate. Contents and your Unity classes is probably a good thing in general. And so then another little thing is about how you write, how you design the dialogue user interface, something we get into quite detail in the post. And so here we made several choices in how to design the dialogues, and this is no way definitive form for this game. But anyway, you can see here that we so if we have different length text, we have fixed margins, which is really nice. So we don't scale the font. But so this gives a neat impression of a neatness of the interface, and also we used all caps as in comics, and of course, there are many choices you can do here, and like for example, you can have the tip here rounded or more towards the characters, and so on. In this case, we chose to have choices here, so you can see all what's recently happened in the dialogue instead of alternating text, as is more used in games. But I think this is a bit better, and so the choice that you made goes into the flow, and this can be really useful. So of course, once you have the content, and Unity has a very flexible UI, so you can do whatever you want. It's mostly a design choice. So I hope this nicely integrates by seeing it in action what you can read in the post. See you soon.